All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of Guard Capital. Glad to be with you this morning and every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on our YouTube channel. It is tax day, April 15th, 2024, on a Monday. It's time for a new week, ready to rock and roll. Let's go and get started with futures. Dow futures are up 313 points this morning. The Nasdaq's up 0.88% this morning. We are long. S&P 500 5208. That's up 0.8%. And the Russell 2027 up 0.4%. The US dollar 105.93 down 0.10%. The VIX is down 5% this morning. Crude oil is down 0.71%. Gasoline's down 0.7%. Gold rather muted, even though we had the Israel and Iran conflict headlines. Not a lot of fear out there. I guess the expectation was bombs and missiles were going to be flying. We'd have a limit down. We did not get that. So a lot of this move, in my opinion, are a lot of shorts that are getting pretty much hit today, and they're closing their positions. I talked about this on the video last night that I do expect us to get a bounce, one more bounce, and then we're going to get a fade into May. But seasonally speaking, the next 2 weeks are rather strong. I expect 2% move from where we were last night. That gets us to a ride around 5270 on the S&P 500 future side. Target of 18,515 for me on the NASDAQ. We're starting to push a little higher now. Again, all of this, in my opinion, is really part of the script of seasonality, the script of patterns and routine. We had the exact same setup. If you guys watched the video last night, very similar setup back in August, where we had a trend line break here. So I'm going to draw it on the S&P 500 futures. I did it on S&P spot. So you can see probably crude trend line breakdown, very similar. And then you get this pop and then it rejects and then it pulls back. So that's where we're going to get in May, in my opinion. Now, keep this with a grain of salt. I have been calling for a pullback, some semblance of a pullback since since February. So we have not gotten it, but we have taken advantage at least. Again, I not only just want to react, I also want to anticipate some moves, at least in the future side, so we can get ourselves ready for what's to come. And we don't want to be surprised. We want to make sure we plan for any contingency. That's really the key for a trader pretty much every day. News changes every day. You just got to get used to it. I mean, whatever happens, happens. Just react accordingly, but also be anticipatory for anything that can happen moving forward. That's what hedging is about, pretty much buying insurance. Silver futures up 1.69%. If you guys remember, we had SLV. We talked about that on Sunday. We closed it last week. If you have a runner, great. But SLV is on the upside with silver. Let's take a look at SLV together. Yes, closed at 25.63. It's up 26.25. 27.24 is the recent highs. Copper is up as well, up 2%. That means Freeport McMoran is going to bounce as well. We traded this name as well, and we caught it already. But again, that is a great proxy for copper, is FCX. Euro dollar 106.57. I went long with the team on Forex. So again, euro dollar, we are long. Again, the euro dollar tends to move pretty much almost not at the same pace, but directionally with the S&P. They couple together. And since I expect markets to go higher, the stock market to go higher the next 2 weeks, I think euro dollar would be in a nice position. And we're holding the 100-day, I think it was a 100-week moving average, actually. Let's see it. Okay, let's go to the weekly, and you can see, of course, I had the wrong one. Here we go. Zoom in here a little bit. You could see here, reset the manual expansion. There you go. We're going to zoom. That blue line is your 100-week moving average. I'm going to use that as our pivot. If we break below team, then we can close out. But again, very light risk with pretty good upside. Looking at 108.23 as our possible, I think it was TP2 or TP3. That would be your 50-week moving average. Now, I don't expect that in one day, but remember dollar yen team took a little bit of a hit there for quite a bit and then finally went our way. We were long on dollar yen. I think everyone caught about 80 points before we got stopped. It looks great. Let's see if 155.38 comes next. I believe that's the extension, the fib extension. No, fib extension is 167.18. So, I mean, you do have the pattern there for dollar yen to go higher, but I think dollar yen at this point, we can just leave it alone. And I think euro dollar is probably our best setup for Forex moving forward. Let's see what else. Pound dollar up 43 pips. Dollar Canadian dollar down 46 pips, which is interesting because the crude oil is down. Bitcoin 1.24. Bitcoin having this week. So that's what took a hit this weekend, not stocks. Ethereum is up 0.75% this morning. All right, let's take a look here at Apple. Apple had a headline earlier today. Actually, it was, I believe, last night regarding their handsets in China losing market share to Android, I believe. So let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. This includes pre market pricing. If you get above 178.68, Apple's going to go higher. But Carlos, what do you mean? I thought you said in May we're going to fall. Yes. Doesn't mean that Apple cannot go higher. I'm talking about the broader market. Sometimes they don't correlate. Remember, we had a nice run with the stock market, and Apple was not much of a participant in it really since the start of 2024. Nice pop, but it has faded while the stock market has roared higher. What has gotten more popularity in the stock market and flows? Nvidia, SMCI, Google, Amazon, Meta. Those names got the flows. Apple, not so much. And that's okay because Apple's setting up the same setup that we had just in July of last year. So you can see the pullback, also had the flag breakdown, and now you're setting up for this. So I'm confident in Apple pushing higher. I tweeted it, put it on our blog. If you guys want to screenshot this, you want to make fun of me later if I'm wrong, totally cool. But I will stand on the conviction that Apple has room to go higher. Unfortunately, I have the 185 calls for this week, which have taken a hit. We've been holding those for a minute. So sooner the better on Apple. We do have OPEX this Friday. So maybe Apple gives us a shot. But again, not the best start with those headlines, obviously. So we'll see what Apple does, but I do like Apple moving forward. Masterclass knows what I'm talking about. Talked about that breakout on the 1 hour. Let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla had um, headlines come in for layoffs. So they are laying off workers at Tesla. I believe 10% of the workforce. I believe Elon has confirmed that. Now, this is where make or break comes. Layoffs are usually good for companies. I hate to say that because it reduces the biggest cost to a company, which is labor, obviously. So, not good for the economy, layoffs. Maybe you'll kind of thaw out uh, the labor market a bit. But in terms of the stock, it should be positive. I hate to say that, but it's true. And again, I still have this setup here for a bounce on Tesla. You're thinking to yourself, but Carlos, you said sell in May and go away. What do you mean? I thought we were going to flush. Tesla and Apple can go higher while the S&P falls because the S&P went higher when Tesla and Apple were falling. So obviously we don't see the correlation then. I don't expect us to see the correlation now. Does it mean we're going to get to 225 tomorrow? Go ahead and fill these take your time. Again, now we know the roadmap. We have the script. We allow ourselves to see how the market goes. And if it follows that script, great. And if it doesn't, we reassess. And that's pretty much what I do every day. Stare at a bunch of lines on the screen and reassess, evaluate, research, comment, question, all that good stuff. Let's go to the questions. Good morning, good Monday morning, and good morning. No questions. That means you guys are set for today. Oof, that feels better, class, because I feel like I'm doing a lecture sometimes and everyone's falling asleep at the 9 a.m., you know, class, the big auditorium in college. But everyone's here, everyone's doing well. I'm glad. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment. So Tesla and Apple, the ones I'm really watching for those moves. But NASDAQ and S&P, keep an eye. We'll see what we get. Masterclass and premium, I got you, the options members, for our pre-market plan. Talk about the trades that we have open and what we're looking for moving forward. So just wanted to let you know. Here we go. All set for today. I had some questions for tomorrow. Perfect. I will see you then. DraftKings. Does DraftKings have the Apple type move? Is the question. Now, it is green pre-market, but we need something fast. 46, like today, we need 46 something. Just for the fact that it's expiring. Guys, we were 28% right here on the 26th of March, and we fell and we never retraced. The good news is that we have precedent in these type of moves, Apple being one of them. Take a look at the 4-hour. Again, you had that downtrend and we broke out of it, and that's how we traded it. So same deal. It was at right around 170. It was on the blog and it was on the watch list and charts, and we got that big push. Now, granted, we had a nice headline. Does DraftKings give us a headline today? Scotty Scheffler does win the Masters. I believe the CEO of Barstool had that right. I think he bet on Scotty Scheffler, so congratulations to him. But I did not watch the full extent of the Masters, but it's always enjoyable to watch Tiger melted down on the weekend. Poor Tiger. Sucks. He was great when he was great. All right, so NVIDIA. What else we got? NVIDIA, anything here to get excited for? Not really. It is up $9 pre-market. Are we above the? You got to get above the 20, 896.09. Right there. That's your 20-day. If we break below 824.78, that's a gap to fill. You got one more right here at 720. But I don't know if that train's going to stop anytime soon. Thoughts on Goldman after earnings? Technically speaking, we did trade Goldman before, and it is up pre-market, but it got as high as 419. So it was a really great great quarter. Citibank and Goldman seem to be the winning banks in terms of earnings so far. JPM not so much. That pulled back, but looks like we did hit a double top on Goldman Sachs, at least for now. If you break below 384, I want to short Goldman Sachs because the setup is there. Now, if you get above 420, then we can talk about going long. But if you break below 484, I think you're going to test this trend line here of 350. Gives everyone a chance and an opportunity to buy it if they want to. So that's where we are. Have a great rest of your morning, team. I will see you guys tomorrow for the next morning note. Cheers all.